oh, my body doesn't know how to heal itself, so I'm going to be on birth control to Band-Aid fix my symptoms, even though that's doing nothing for my body. Is we don't feel safe in our body. We don't trust what's happening. We don't trust the progression of things. It's like when we get sick, are you going to allow yourself to have a fever and let the fever pass and know that your body's taking care of the virus? Or are you going to freak out and like slap a bunch of stuff on top of yourself and like kind of panic spiral? And it's actually the simple things you do every day that are going to make you feel amazing and glow and to feel good in your body. It's actually the way that you speak to yourself with kindness.
Welcome to the I Decide Darlings podcast. I'm Erin.
And I'm Lisa. We are moms, wives, best friends, entrepreneurs, and authors of the book, I Decide, the happy little guide to living your best life. Pull up a chair, grab a glass of wine, and get ready to talk all things health, success, loss, money, family, and everything in between. These two besties won't leave anything off the table.
So get ready to laugh, cry, hear the tips, tools, and stories to give you the success you crave, the life you adore, and the future you deserve. You are listening to the I Decide podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the I Decide Darlings podcast. As always, I am Erin Lopez.
And I'm Lisa Cox. Welcome. How are you today, Erin? Okay, we're still on baby watch. Every time someone listens to our podcast lately, they're going to be like, when is that baby going to ever come? But he'll be here tomorrow. They're inducing her. So we're so excited. I'm going to be Grandma Dolly. And I just had to say it again because we want to keep it in the podcast. And then after that, all I'm going to talk about is my grandson.
I'm here for it. I'm ready. I am on the countdown and I'm waiting for Dolly to make her appearance. So then we can and I was thinking about it actually after we did this last time. We will be having Megan and your new grandson, I think. I mean, our audience needs to meet him.
We'll do it. We'll do it for sure. For sure.
Well, and Rachel, our guest today that I have the honor of introducing, is probably like, oh my gosh, Lisa, you're having a baby tomorrow? Like, what's happening?
I don't know what's going on.
I know. As we were talking, I was like, plot twist, right? Well, after that, get the honor of introducing our guest today. We're so excited for this. We have so many questions because Rachel, our guest today, is a hormone coach, a trauma-informed hypnotherapist, and mentor for feminine leaders. She supports successful female entrepreneurs in moving from burnout, depletion, overextension, maxed capacity, acne, PMS, and hormonal imbalance into overflow, high energy, clarity, and purpose-driven feminine leadership. I love it.
Yeah.
Here's what I love too. Rachel is a steak eating, sunbathing, bath taking, slowing down, and laughing kind of a coach. Rachel Nichols, welcome to the I Decide Darlings podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the beautiful introduction. And thank you for having me. It's already fun.
We warned you. We're so excited to have you, Rachel. And like I said, I mean, we love all of this for a lot of reasons. You talked about leadership. You talked about hormones, which we know a lot about, and just all of the good stuff. But before we dive in, we would love for you to share who Rachel Nichols is. Tell us a little bit about your past, who you are, and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent question. And I know you kind of mentioned this as well with like being the title of your podcast is I Decide, like, how did I get to this place in my business and my life? And it all ties into my story. So I'm excited that we're starting this way. So I graduated with my bachelor's in biochemistry and I was like the girly who did the most, who was literally my clientele, like type A. I graduated with biochemistry degree, bachelor's of science at 20 years old.
Wow.
So crazy. I like hit the ground running, got the job, did the whole thing. I moved to Chicago, worked in biotech sales. And I feel like on paper, I had it all. I had the job, I had the boyfriend, I had the apartment, I had the success. And I felt like crap. I felt like absolute crap. And I was like, wait, I thought this is what I was striving for. Like I thought this is what I was working so hard for. And yet here I am having endometriosis, awful periods, anxiety, acne, losing hair, like just feeling so out of purpose, out of alignment with I just knew it could be better. Like, I was like, this can't be it. Like, there's no way. There's no way that I worked so hard for this. So I quit everything. I went back to my hometown, put everything in storage, and I moved to Thailand. I had a one-way ticket. I was like, I'm going to work on healing my body. So I got my birth control removed, which was an IUD, before I moved. And I really just focused on healing. So I learned a lot about Eastern medicine, Germanic New Medicine, Ayurveda, a lot of the things that I use now with my clients, but I didn't know I was still going to be doing this at that time. So really healed my body, really started feeling amazing, came back home, and then really started my business. So I got some certifications that allowed me to do what I do now. And
that's so cool.
Did
you leave the boyfriend in Chicago too?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was all like
starting over. Did you go to college? You told us before we were starting that you were in beautiful Idaho. Is that where you went to college as well?
So I went to university at Eastern Washington, so really close to Idaho. It's like but I grew up in Spokane, Washington, so kind of a university in my hometown.
Yeah.
How long were you in Thailand? I mean, when you buy a one-way ticket, like I've never done anything like that in my whole life. Talk to me about that. So
yes, I wasn't really even planning on coming home, but when I was there, it was just, there was a lot happening at home. My brother had his first child and I was like, okay, gotta go home. But so that's really what brought me back. But I was there for probably 2 years.
Wow. And you just like packed your bags and
by yourself.
Crazy. Yep, by myself. Didn't know anyone there.
Okay, what did your mom do? Like my mom heart is pulsing right now.
Right? I know. I talk to her about that all the time. I'm like, why'd you let me do that? But I guess like, both of my parents, they've known since I was a kid that I was the kind of person that was like, well, I'm doing it anyways, even if they weren't supportive. So they just knew that it was best to be supportive.
Wow.
I love that independence. I never really did that or had that or do that now.
That's okay. It's okay. It's not for everyone. I honestly wouldn't do it now. Like I couldn't imagine when I think about doing that. I'm like, wow, that was insane. I also feel like it's a little bit different traveling recently, like post-COVID. I feel like things feel different.
Yeah.
Also, when you're younger, you know, when you're like in your younger 20s, you feel like invincible. You're like, nothing's ever going to happen to me. It's just so weird how it changes through time. You start becoming aware of everything that could go wrong.
Oh my God. I won't even get on like roller coasters now. Cause then I'm like, oh no, that day has passed. Like
there's no way.
I might tinkle as I go on the thing.
Like, definitely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, okay. So part of this too was a healing journey for you of like the medications. Like tell us a little bit about that. Cause I love that because I think we all know that we have prescriptions and medications and everything like thrown down our throats. So I'd love to hear kind of the journey of what that looked like.
Yeah, for me, it was all about getting back to baseline. I knew what I was doing wasn't working. And I also knew that, and I teach my clients this all the time, when we are on pharmaceuticals, there's a time and a place. And I'm not saying there's not. However, it's perpetuating this message within our body that we don't know. We're like, our body doesn't know what to do. So I have to do this thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my body doesn't know how to heal itself. So I'm going to be on birth control to Band-Aid fix my symptoms, even though that's doing nothing for my body. It creates so much distrust within ourselves. I mean, as a woman, you can only really get pregnant a very small amount of times per month, per year. You know what I mean? Yet here we are in birth control, preventing something that can only happen every now and then through perfect circumstances, because we're like, oh, I can't trust my body. Heaven forbid I trust my body. And it's just creating so much of this messaging within the body. And I think that messaging is honestly a lot of times what creates imbalance is we don't feel safe in our body. We don't trust what's happening. We don't trust the progression of things. It's like when we get sick, are you going to allow yourself to have a fever and let the fever pass and know that your body's taking care of the virus? Or are you going to freak out and like slap a bunch of stuff on top of yourself and like kind of panic spiral? No, like we know that it's autumn right now in Idaho. I know it's going to snow soon. I'm not like, oh, like, is it going to snow this year? I don't know. Like we have to trust the rhythm of our body, just like we trust the rhythm of the seasons outside. Yet for some reason, we have so much distrust built by the time we're in our like 30s that becomes even more scary, especially when we're put on birth control when we're like 16.
Oh gosh.
Rachel, can I ask how old you are?
I'm 30.
Okay. For those of you who need to go watch this on YouTube, she is glowing and she is gorgeous. I say that because,
thank you.
Well, for the obvious, because you truly are. and I think that most people, like, they can look at you and think she doesn't have any problems, like where, and so I love that you bring this to the surface, because I think so many people can look at us from the outside and say, like, she looks great, she's this, she's, and I'm sure a lot of it for you has to do with what you're putting in and on your body, which Lisa and I are big promoters of, and it's also a mental, health. So I love this question that we ask a lot of our guests, like, take us through a day of Rachel Nichols, like, because a lot of people don't even know, like, where to start. So you're glowing for a lot of reasons, but I would love to just know, like, what is your daily musts look like for Rachel? And then I really want to dive in, Lisa, and I have so many questions about your signature formulas and a lot of stuff that you do in your work life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Excellent question. So as far as, are you looking for like routines?
Yeah. Like, yeah. Tell us the skinny, give us the scoop.
Okay. Amazing. I would say every morning for me is slow, which is a huge blessing and also really, really important to me. I am seriously so irritated of listening to podcasts personally and hearing women be like, I have a 37-step morning routine that I do not stay from at all. I really like to start my day with checking in with my body, seeing how I feel. And if I get out of bed and do like a bro morning, like a lot of people are told to do, all of a sudden I'm doing what other people tell me to do instead of listening to my body. So the most important thing for me is stillness in the morning. So I will hop out of bed and go make high protein breakfast. Is huge for me within 30 minutes to an hour of waking up. So I'm talking like right when you wake up, making breakfast is the most important thing. I'm a big matcha girly, so I'll have a matcha high protein breakfast. And a lot of the times, like this morning, I'll crawl back into bed and I will work in bed, eat my breakfast. And then whenever I'm kind of ready, I'll mosey out. I am an afternoon workout girl. I do my best work in the morning. That's my creative time. So normally I'll do some sort of movement in the afternoon. But when I say that, it's not this intense thing. A lot of the times it's just walking. A lot of the times it's just walking along the river, which is where I live. Sometimes I'll do strength training about twice a week. I do strength training, sometimes a Pilates class, but it's always low impact movement. And then in the evening, again, it's wind down time. Like I work really hard during my day. I have over 100 women in my world at a given time. I hold space for a lot of people. And so the reality is it is really important for me to fill my cup. And like I said, there's all these biohacking bro strategies out there of things that you should be doing and these really intense routines. And I believe in that when it comes to my business. That's the way that my business is structured, is allows me to have peace, allows me to be in my feminine. But if I take that structure and I expand it past into my mornings and evenings, all of a sudden I'm in my masculine 24/7. So it's really important for me, like when I close my laptop, to be like, okay, like this evening's for me, like what's going to feel good. So most evenings it's jazz music and me making my dinner and really spending time in my own energy or with loved ones, not looking at my phone, not looking at my computer, having really good aligned business boundaries, which can be challenging as a business owner, especially when my business is me. I am my business. It's very, very important. So when you were probably thinking I was going to say this really hectic thing, but I think the most important takeaway from my routines is that you have to really focus on filling your cup. You can't listen to what someone else tells you to do. And it's actually the simple things you do every day that are going to make you feel amazing and glow and feel good in your body. It's actually the way that you speak to yourself with kindness. It's actually, the way that you relate to your life and having aligned boundaries that allow for you to feel like you have that juicy life.
No, I love it. I mean, there is no right answer, because, and I think that's what is so important for people to hear is, we're all in different seasons and walks in our life. And so I love your answer, and I can picture the serenity of everything.
Thank you.
I love it too. I'll tell you what, I didn't give myself permission to have a slow morning until I was in my 50s. And I say that a lot about a lot of things. I feel like in my 50s, I finally came into my true alignment. But Erin and I have been working in a very fast-paced self-development world, in being in network marketing sales for so many years, where we were trained, I'm going to say, by the bros. You know what I mean? You can't sleep more than 4 or 5 hours, Tony Robbins used to say. And I'm just like, that does not work with me.
I know. That's how I was. I was like working in corporate. When I was like my corporate girly era, I was like waking up at 4, like doing cold plunging, doing like the sauna, running, like so intense so intense. And I totally see that. I feel like you just have to give yourself permission.
Yeah.
And also
I
through the beliefs that come up. Because like when I tell my clients, I'm like, hey, I want you to get off work today. I want you to take a bath. And I want you to leave your phone in the other room. The panic that comes across their face. It's like, wait. Like what?
Yeah.
Because those limiting beliefs that come up, like that's where the work starts.
Oh, I think it's beautiful. And I know that a cold plunge is another thing that's a real topic because my sister cold plunges every day. Everyone's talking about how you have to do it. To me, I don't like it.
No.
I'm not interested. And I love my infrared sauna. I love to feel warm and feel good. But yet it's like in our mind, I think I should do it because it's going to be better for me. And then you have a different theory on that. Will you share your theory on the cold plunge for women?
Oh yeah. I mean, as much as we could say theory, I feel like it's very factual. So the thing about cold plunging is the reason why it feels so good is it releases epinephrine, norepinephrine into the bloodstream, which yes, is going to make you feel on top of the world. However, when that happens, it also increases our estrogen, decreases progesterone. I haven't spoken to one woman at any stage of her cycle, whether she's in her fertile years, perimenopausal, postmenopausal. I haven't spoken to one woman personally who doesn't have raging high estrogen. Like most people do, even if it's not showing up in your lab results. It's almost impossible to test. By the way, it's almost impossible to test your hormones in labs. So it's something worth mentioning here in case someone's listening. They're like, actually, but almost everyone that has really high estrogen, it's because it's in our food, it's in our water, it is in our beauty products. Everything that we're exposed to in our world is estrogenic, really. So if you are cold plunging, it's going to make your hormonal imbalance worse. It's going to make your cortisol really high, which is going to make you feel swollen and puffy. And it's going to really add to the stubborn weight in your body. So that's why a lot of women, especially I would say 30 plus, are like, I'm running, I'm working out all the time, I'm intermittent fasting, which also don't recommend. I'm cold plunging. They're doing all these like bro strategies. And they're like, and still I have this like stubborn belly fat and I feel puffy. And this is why. It's because we're doing everything ass backwards.
Okay, so this is against the grain. This is against the grain, and I love it. I love it. What do you recommend then? I mean, for women in their 30s plus that are holding on to their belly fat and the cortisol, tell us what do you recommend?
Yeah. So emotionally, let's start with that, creating safety within the body. So if we look at Germanic New Medicine in particular, when we're looking at the emotions and the physical body and how they relate to each other, when we're having stubborn weight, it's because we don't feel safe in the world. Oftentimes women, especially when we get to our 30s, 40s, we have created so many narratives in our brain. Maybe it's about being a perfect mom. Maybe it's about sacrificing your needs for everyone in your family. Maybe it's something we saw from our mother. You know, we're like, oh, I have to lay down my life constantly, and that's where my worth comes from. And therefore, your body starts to feel unsafe. Your body starts to be like, I'm always last. I never feel good. Everyone else feels good. I don't. So I would say emotionally addressing safety within the body. I would also say physically slowing down, low impact exercise, strength training 2-3 times a week. Do not do high impact movement, high impact exercise. I would say really high protein. And I would also say really identify what causes inflammation within your body because it's different for everyone.
I mean, you just gave me permission to all of the things that I don't like doing.
Good, I'm glad.
Because, and we joke about this all the time, like, I don't want to cold plunge. Why? Because it's cold, which I've done cryo, but I don't want to get wet. Like, you know, I just don't want to get wet. So, but I love hearing like the medical reasons, you know, behind it as well. And I do think too, I love what you said, that it took me a lot of time. I was the one that I think, like you mentioned too, like I was working out all the time. If I wasn't like dripping sweat and about to throw up, then I honestly like that's the way my brain worked. And I also was an athlete growing up. So having like, if I was doing that intense workouts, that the older I got, I was like, I cannot do this anymore. And I think more so too, like my body couldn't do it anymore. And of course it could have, but I think it's, I love you bringing the femininity to it that, you know, I talk about this all the time with my husband, and Lisa and I both are the same, like walking, like, you know, there's such beauty in walking for more reasons than just the physicalities of it. But, you know, the being out in nature and taking a breath and the fresh air and like all of these things that, again, now I joke when I you see all those memes and those reels that are like, everybody else is cold plunging while I dip my toes into the hot bath. Like that's going to be me. That's going to be me now. So many things that you work with women. What is your like most favorite passionate topic that you, when people bring it to you, like what is something that you love talking about? Because there's so many things that we love that you talk about with this and sex, your sex and your IVF and all of these things. That what is like the most, when somebody brings it to you and you're like, oh, I love this topic, what is it?
Yeah. I mean, I would say burnout in general is my favorite topic to talk about, mostly because it affects everything. It affects our health. It affects the way we feel in our body because it's affecting our physical body. It's affecting our relationships with our partners. It's affecting our relationship to our business. So that's my favorite topic to dive into because of the results. Because when we heal burnout, everything heals. Our romantic relationships are more fulfilling. Our business just grows. We feel good in our body again. It enhances everything. So that's my favorite.
Rachel, how do you heal burnout? I mean, don't give us it all, but like
like how long do you have? I mean,
I know. Snippet.
Program.
Yeah. And by the way, let's take note, and we're going to talk about that towards the end. But like, this is what I love too, is that you're offering this to people who don't live in your backyard of Idaho. Like you're taking people on a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month process to dive into these topics. But like burnout is real, burnout is real. So give us a snippet of like, how do I listen to this and take the next step? Because I'm, for people that are thinking like, I'm a little burnt out right now.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take you through 3 pillars of what I take my clients through, and we'll just kind of summarize each pillar. The first one is making sure that we're addressing the physical body. So when we think about burnout, it affects the kidney meridian in Chinese medicine. So I know that I can't describe everything about what that means on this call, but here's what you need to do. You need to focus on mineral uptake. So we are not exposed to that many minerals in America, at least, because our soil has been so depleted, but it's okay. We just have to know what to do. So for anyone listening, I would recommend supplementing with nettle tea. I would definitely recommend supplementing with beef liver. So really taking things back to ancestral eating. When a woman for thousands of years in Chinese medicine and also in just our own history would have childbirth, afterwards she would be depleted from minerals and they would feed her organ meats. However, it's something that's actually really not in our American diet. So maybe that means having like ancestral ground beef. I know that's something that they like sell at the grocery store, or supplementing with liver. I recommend increasing organ meats as well as supplementing with minerals. Those are like such a simple place to start. Nettle tea is really high in minerals. That's why that's something I recommend to my clients all the time. It's economical. You can find it at any grocery store, and it's an easy thing to use every single day.
Have you heard of that, Lisa?
No, because I get our minerals from our Revitalize.
Okay, the She Legit.
The She Legit.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I don't know about nettle tea, but I'll look into it. For sure.
Look into it. I definitely recommend it. Sheila G as well is great. So that's a great supplement option. There's so many minerals on the market. I mean, even Trace Minerals, the company like has a little trace mineral drops you can add to your water. I mean, there's so many ways that you can get it. I just always recommend whole food sources rather than getting things that are made in a lab. I mean, lab is going to do a great job, but it's not going to be as good as something that's in nature. So that's a really simple place to get started. We lose so many vitamins and minerals from stress. Like it literally depletes us so much. That's why we have the hair loss, the dark circles under the eyes, our premature aging. All these things honestly are from stress, whether that's childbirth, whether that's multiple children, maybe that's building a business, whatever it is, it's going to drain your body. So body's first. When a client comes into my world, that's when we do what I call the vitality assessment. So we really look at the body as a whole. What's going on? What meridians are being affected? What emotions are being impacted? And how can we build from there? So like I said, first thing is really making sure that we're changing supplementation, nutrition, lifestyle habits. So when it comes to lifestyle habits, couple things, I would recommend doing raw carrot salad every day, just the size of your fist. So raw carrot salad, literally just what it sounds like. It's raw carrots shredded, a little bit of coconut oil, salt, pepper. I add cilantro because I like it. Basically what it's going to do is decrease the stress impacts on your body. So it's going to decrease estrogen, increase progesterone in a really natural way. I would also recommend doing castor oil packs 3 to 4 times a week. which are really simple, and they're going to help you sleep like a little baby. And you guys, if you haven't tried them, try them.
Castor oil packs.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can literally get everything you need at like Whole Foods or something. Like they sell it as a pack. But definitely want to make sure if you do it to get the castor oil that's in a glass bottle, because the reason why castor oil is amazing is it's a detox oil. It leaches out of whatever it's in. So you just don't want to get it in a plastic bottle, right?
Okay.
But that's just a really gentle detox. It's going to help regulate stress hormones, regulate the body's impacts of stress. So very simple things there. Like I said, supplementation, nutrition, lifestyle. Obviously, this is a lot more in depth when I work with my clients. Then phase 2 of this is really healing the nervous system. So making sure you're looking at the thoughts and beliefs that are keeping you in these high cortisol spirals that are leading to burnout. Normally, it's going to look something like perfectionism. Normally, it's going to look like something like, oh, I have to be the one who's always overextending myself. That's where I get my worth from. Maybe it's your worth is tied to your productivity and your success. What does success even mean? Maybe it's something like that. So pulling back the curtain on the source of your stress. I always say stress itself and burnout is like a bathtub that's overflowing with water. If your drain is plugged and your bathtub is overflowing with water, are you going to sit there and scoop the water out with a cup, or are you going to turn the water off? So when we look at supplements, we look at nutrition. That's normally what people look at, right? That's normally what people are like, oh, I'm going to like do these really expensive, bougie wellness things. They're just scooping water out. If you don't go to the source of the stress and turn the water off, good luck. Good luck actually seeing the effects from all these expensive supplements you're spending your money on. So you have to go to the source. You got to go to the mindset. You got to go to, okay, where was this created in childhood? Maybe this was created by what I observed in a parent. Maybe this is what was created by my culture that I live in, whatever it is, making sure you're going there and turning it off, which is where I work with my clients on EFT tapping and hypnotherapy. And that's where that component comes in. When I started my business, I was like, the more women I started seeing, I was like, I can't serve these women to the level that I need to for transformations that will last their lifetime unless I figure out how to change the beliefs. So that one is really a non-negotiable. The third thing is making sure that you go to structure. So when we look at structure, a lot of the times I work with female entrepreneurs. So a lot of the times it's looking at her business. How is her business supporting her femininity? How is her business allowing her to have time off? So
it's so good. I know. We're taking it all in.
I know. I'm like on your every word. I'm like, wait, what?
and you do talk a lot about reclaiming your feminine energy. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we look at Chinese medicine, feminine energy is simply a word called yin. And we all know about yin and yang, right? Like there's masculine energy and there's feminine energy. However, in our culture today, I feel like we are expected, probably from ourselves more than anyone, to live in our yang energy all the time, always be producing, always be the girl who's doing the most, always get the accolades, always get the praise, instead of allowing ourselves to just be and allowing being to be enough. And like I said, if we look at Chinese medicine, that's where we get all these imbalances. That's why all of a sudden we feel like crap, we're losing hair, we're having PMS. We are, treating our spouses like they're our children. Like there's so many things that come into play here when we are in our masculine energy too much. So that's really the way that I look at it, is at the end of the day, I would say like the masculine is like the riverbank and the feminine is the river. So we need to have the containment, that direction, that vision, the clarity, the purpose. We need to have those things, but also it's safe for us to like glisten in the sunlight and go with the flow and not be so uptight and specific and perfect all the time. Like the things that make us imperfect are the things that make us beautiful.
Oh, I love that, Rachel. I truly feel like we were just raised to be driven, like this, at least this age group that I'm in. That's what we were taught, is just what are you producing? How much are you doing? What career do you have? Do you have success? And it's exhausting. I mean, it is exhausting. And when you can finally give yourself permission to not live like that, I think it's a beautiful place to be. And I love that. And you talk also about healing people's acne. I wanted to bring that up because I think that's something so many people struggle with, and they're looking at the wrong areas to heal it. Would you talk about that for a sec?
Yeah. So I had awful acne for 15 years, like awful, so bad, not just on my period, like constantly. I was on Accutane actually 3 times.
So was my daughter.
Really? Wow. Yeah. It's very common.
Yeah.
It did nothing for me. Didn't work. I tried like spironolactone, all the things. Pre-wellness, Rachel. I tried all the pharmaceuticals. Nothing was working. Cleaned up my nutrition, lifestyle, things like that. Still only was like 80% cured, 80% healed. I still had pretty bad acne, especially around my periods. The 20%, and I teach my clients this all the time, is emotional. The 20% is, like I said, the way that you speak to yourself. It's the way that you really like. It's allowing yourself to actually slow down.
Oh,
wow. And your skin is gorgeous.
it is perfect.
When you
Flawless.
said I had acne, I was like, wait, what?
I know.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I feel like I still have this imposter syndrome when people tell me that. I'm like,
oh, it's gorgeous. It really is.
Well, I think a lot of this is, which is again, like what Lisa and I love to talk and teach about too, is the internal, like a lot of things that you love to teach on, and what we love is that, the setting boundaries, the acne, the burnout, like all of these things. Like, I think we're taught to put a Band-Aid on it and mask it and all of these things, instead of really taking the time to understand the internal too, of why that's happening and what that's doing. And, not everybody can, I would love to go to Thailand now, but I love that you bring that to the table now of helping others doing this, because I think that it's all interrelated, to our relationships, to our business, to our friendships, to parenting, to everything that we do. So I love that you're doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do too. I think I love your angle so much, and I feel like I truly appreciate it. Finally, I don't know how I would have absorbed it 5 years ago. I just don't, because I just have been so driven. I had a dad, 2 sisters. He wanted 3 daughters, or he wanted 3 sons, and he got 3 girls. And he drove us like little army little army kids, and I mean, like soldiers. And, so I feel like I had that in me so much. And I really understand what you're saying today, because I'm in a different place where I receive it, because I am doing that. My morning routine nowadays, I get up and I do a little spiritual reading that I love. And then I take my coffee and I walk over to my sofa and I sit and I enjoy my yummy cup of coffee. And just have that quiet space. And I used to feel like I had to get up, go right to the workout, this and that. I don't do that anymore. I just enjoy quiet time with my husband and my coffee, and I don't answer messages until I'm ready. And and I have a big team, and a lot of my team is in different time zones. And so when they start coming in, if I'm not ready, I don't answer. And I'm okay with that, but it took me a long time to get there. So I love what you're doing. So you tell us where everybody can find you. So what is the best place to source Rachel? Because we love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks for sharing your morning routine. I love that. It sounds so nourishing. I think that a lot of us just get so stuck in, we can have one or the other. We can either feel good in our body, or we can be successful. And we think that being successful has to look a certain way. And that's something I'm really passionate about. That's why I love working with female entrepreneurs primarily, is because these are the women that, like, they know they were made for more. They know that, like, they are created for huge things. And I want them to feel amazing, because I'm like, you can have everything. We can have everything. So I love that. So excellent question. You can find me honestly everywhere. I'm everywhere. I have a podcast, website, obviously Instagram, TikTok. However, I would say I'm an Instagram girly. If you want to talk to me, reach out to me on Instagram. I have a team, but I am kind of like a weirdo about Instagram. I try to operate my business like Taylor Swift. I want to like literally personally message people back as much as possible. So Instagram, I would say the best, and my website.
Okay. What is your podcast called?
It's just the Restoring Eve podcast.
Restoring Eve. Okay. Oh, I just love that. I'm going to be on that listening to you.
Hey, okay. I would love that. And yeah, my Instagram is at Restoring Eve. So at Restoring Eve.
Wow. Restoring Eve, you guys, definitely go follow Rachel Nichols.
Yes. And I have to say real quickly, and Lisa knows this, like, I love your all's mornings routines. Mine do not look like that whatsoever right now. I am in the thick of seasoning of, we get up at the crack of dawn for school and we're like, boom, 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 boom. But what I love is that I've gotten in the better habit now of like once they leave, I used to have this mindset of like, all right, it's go time. Like they are out the door, sit down at my desk, get my day going, rolling, whatever. And the older I've gotten, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a minute. And like, sometimes I go back to bed for a few minutes. Sometimes and so I love hearing everyone's different seasons of their morning routines too, because, again, just like we said about routines earlier, like there's no one size fits all, but I think it's a matter of figuring out what works best. And like, but what I love, Rachel, what you do is you make sure that we're all taking the time to like, slow down, because when we hit the ground running, like it's not good for anybody.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the repositioning. It's kind of that part of your brain that's like, oh, I should be doing something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which I think is like the majority of our lives. Like I should be doing this.
I know. I just want to be Rachel Nichols.
Except
I don't eat red meat, so I can't be the steak eating, but I could be the chicken eating, sunbathing, bath. Like I fit this mold, Rachel, slowing down and laughing more. Like this is my life and I love it. And I love your motto and your theory. I think that's incredible.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. Thanks for this conversation. I am so grateful.
Oh, we are grateful. And we hope that you guys are listening to this, are sharing it out, because so many good tips today. And what we love is that what she's doing is she is helping women be your very best. And so share this out to anyone that you have. Go check her out. She has some amazing courses that you can do some one-on-one coaching with her, the podcast, all of the great things. So Rachel Nichols, thank you for being on the I Decide Darlings podcast today. We definitely would hope to keep in touch with you, my friend.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon on the I Decide Darlings podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the I Decide Darlings podcast. If this podcast touched your heart, please share it with your friends and family right after you subscribe yourself. Don't forget to head over to iDecideBook.com and grab a copy of our favorite book and daily journal. As always, thank you for being here, and we can't wait for you to hear our next episode.